I'm good. Ryan and Mike. Mike Morgan. All right, time's in. Score is 0, serve 0.
You heard the call from the referee, 0-0 as Luis Cordova and Sean Lenning are now underway. It's the men's quarterfinals. Third match of the day.
0, serve
As Sean
0.
Lenning now serving, best 2 out of 3 to 15. Breaker also to 15, win by 2. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside David Fink.
Oh, it's great to be
1,
here with
serve
you,
0.
Dave. We're having an amazing event here in Atlanta.
You've left your impression on the first 2 matches.
3, actually. We're talking playoffs,
That's
too.
true.
I affected one of those. I want to get credit for that.
Okay. Had a crazy first couple matches here.
I've never really, can't remember anything like it.
To kick off the new season, we've had one player
0, serve
asked
1.
to have the ref removed of the first match, and then we had the next player in the next match trying to get the ref removed before the match started.
Right.
Meanwhile, in the broadcast booth, Killian Carroll said that he felt that you needed to ref more.
1, serve 0.
So that was why you were giving me the look.
No, well, not really, but
I did get the look.
you did get the look. But
Yeah.
he said that he felt that you should
2,
ref more.
serve
So the
1.
second you got up there, within 30 seconds, you had a player trying to remove you from the court. I was thinking, Killian, where are you?
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of fun stuff. Things that I've never seen before happen here.
Well, we saw Emmett Peugeot with match point in the last match, ends up losing the match. That's only happened 8 times in the history of the race where a guy's had match point and lost.
1, serve
More
2.
than 950 matches, only 8 of them. Now, you see it in tennis a lot. You see, every match Isner plays, he has match point and he loses. But it's a little different in tennis because of the scoring and, you might get it the match point when your opponent's serving and then you don't even get to touch the ball.
Yeah.
But in handball, it's rare. We almost saw it in the first match today where Daniel was 2 points from the match and then also 2 points from losing in the third game. But here, Dave, it's Sean Lenning and Luis Cordova. This has become quietly a rivalry. It's one that Sean Lenning owned up until last season. Luis Cordova takes Sean out at the Washington Athletic Club pre-race. Now, that was not part of the rankings, but he beats him there in September of 2016 and beat him twice last season. So he's won 3 in a row against Sean Lenning coming into this match. He's got the home court, and he looks very confident. I know just standing next to him, you just sense a different guy. He's worked
bigger.
out. He's
he
bigger.
looks bigger.
And I noticed yesterday Luis Cordova dominating even with his C game. I mean, he didn't look good yesterday. He didn't look like – he said to me when I saw him yesterday, he hasn't played since Vegas. Now, that's 2 full weeks of not playing handball. So he comes into a match against a guy who's literally played every single day before Vegas and after Vegas. A guy, Shorty Ruiz, who is sharp, and yet he still fends him off with a lot less than his best stuff.
Second serve. Side out.
Dave, just some crazy comebacks and a lot of big streaks today. You saw Mondo Ortiz down 15-7, 12-5. I mean, I'm sure you probably started etching, and all of a sudden, Mondo hits a couple of flat rollouts. Emmett had a match point at 14-13. Mondo a flat kill from about 35 feet.
Right. No, his kill shots at the very end of that were just outrageous. Some of them were the best shots you've seen, in months. And flat.
And what happened in that third game? Emmett just completely demoralized?
No, I think the injury to if he's going to get X-rays right now. So
3 serves 3.
That's how bad this is. You get to a point where you're getting X-rays.
Second serve.
Yes, you're demoralized in a lot of ways, and it has nothing to do with the way your opponent's playing. It's all about the fact that you can't hit a ball off that hand.
Right.
And you get an injury, it just seems to find it. It's like a radar.
You're done. No matter what you hurt, you can't win.
The ball finds it. It just the funny thing is you never would hit a ball there, but yet it'll still find a way to hit it.
I've hurt my thumb and I just can't play because the ball does roll through the thumb and it.
Right.
You tell yourself, well, if somebody asked you where do you hit the handball, and you would point to a spot on your palm. But the reality is it does roll through the thumb, and the thumb is connected to that part that you hit. So there's just, unless you smack the ball, like your hand as a paddle. You're going to hit that thumb every time. Daniel Cordova making his second semifinal of his career here on his home court. His first semifinal at the Players Championship in 2015. Luis Cordova made his first semifinal last year in New York, followed that up by making the final. Now he seems like a guy that you just expect to be in the semifinals.
Yeah.
After 6 years of never making one, he just seems like, well, I'm penciling him in for the semis now.
Yeah,
so
no, I agree.
That's about where he goes. And Sean Lenning we saw really not at full speed after Plummer last year, because it was a couple weeks after Plummer he went to the Royal Flush, which was not a race event. It is this year, but he dislocated his shoulder or sprained his AC joint, and he was basically playing 1.57 handed for the rest of the season, and still did have a couple good results, but not the Sean Lenning type results.
That's a shot that Luis has improved, and was great already to begin with.
Those first two matches combined for
4 serves 4.
Almost 4 hours.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, Chris and I were doing sign language about how many hours and minutes it's been. 3 hours and 46 minutes combined. But that doesn't include the warm-ups before and the in-between game time. And, you know, if you start adding it all up, it's pretty intense. In a lot of ways, that's what you want on the tour. But our schedule's completely messed up. But
5 serves 4.
5-4 here. Going back and forth.
Second serve.
Ryan Bowler has filled in for Emmett, who just hopped in an ambulance. I'll tell you, Dave, these matches, I mean, it hurts physically, but mentally, you almost need a straitjacket after walking out of there after these kind of losses that we've seen in the first two rounds this morning. I mean, these are devastating losses. From a distance, Dave, you may see two guys hitting a ball back and forth, but this is like life and death for these top players. In fact, Dave, and Sean should have won that rally 3 times. Nick Mattiani playing in his first Race4Eight event this weekend, former AAA baseball pitcher. He was just in there having fun yesterday. I don't think we've seen that in the round of 16 in these stops.
Well, he didn't have expectations of winning the tournament. He knew what he was, but I think
7.
He surprised himself in a way that he got there, and he wanted to have fun and appreciate it while he was doing it. But, you know, you're talking about a guy that's been successful at every level of athletics. You know, he's
7 serves
former
5.
Major League Baseball player.
I don't know how that matters when you're in there.
I think
nice paddle
if you're successful at things that you do in your life, you're not surprised by things.
5 serves 7.
Things that you believe that you're good at. You're not surprised. A lot of things come easy to that guy.
Terrible air there from Luis. And it's a tricky back wall, particularly when it just
7 serves 5.
comes slowly off the back wall and short.
8 serves 5. Point.
And Dave, Sean Lenning looked
9 serves 5.
really smooth yesterday, and just watching that match from a distance as I was doing some other work, it looked like Sean was cruising, yet you look at the score, he wins 15-12, 15-10, very close against Steve Cooney, but you never sensed that Steven was in the match, and that's what Sean can do to you.
For an avoidable, I gave him the shot. Ten serves 5. Short.
An avoidable hinder called there, Dave. The crowd was murmuring.
No, it was the other way around. It should have been called.
Oh, okay.
But the referee, you know, these players want to play through these. But then they'll argue that they don't, but then they'll argue that they can, and so the referee's just like, you wanted it, so I gave it to you, but
5 serves 10.
And that's a terrible error there from Luis, who gets exactly what he wants from that soft lob serve, and then hits a point-blank setup into the ground.
Point.
And Sean Lenning showing that he is back from that
11
shoulder injury he suffered about 8 months ago. And Dave, Sean did not do a lot of rehab for that shoulder. His rehab was, oh my gosh, a flat rollout off the back foot from 37 feet.
well, that's what he does.
12 serves
You can't be
5.
amazed by that anymore.
Point. Timeout. That's your first, Luis.
There's a timeout being called here.
And Dave, that's kind of a momentum statement shot. Sean Lenning fading back from 37 feet.
Pretty impressive.
And hits a mouse.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can cue up the instant replay on that shot, but that's one that you're going to be seeing on one of your upcoming promos, I'm sure. I can guarantee it, actually.
Well, if we have it, you'll see it.
Okay. That was an incredible shot. And, you know, Luis Cordova trailing, he hits that nice little lob serve to the left. Sean gives him a big setup. He hits it in the ground. Since then, 3 straight points for Sean Lenning. And that's the difference. You make one little error, you open the door, and that's really all it takes.
Yep.
You know, Luis would have been serving at 6-9 there. Now he's down 5-12. This game is just about over.
Yeah,
right now.
it's a strange game, actually, because sometimes it's not what your opponent's doing to you, it's what you just did to yourself.
Yeah.
And momentum and being confident, sometimes it's just that much difference. In this game, really, you have to have a lot of confidence. Second you lose it, these momentum changes take place. We've seen it all morning long.
Yeah.
Luis is hoping right now that taking that time out is
time's
a
in.
momentum
Scores
breaker.
13 serves 5.
13-5.
Short.
It's interesting,
Second
Dave. We've
serve.
seen these matchups, and, you know, like we said at the opening, Luis has won. That's a great left hand, but 3 straight against Sean Lenning. Yet look at how the script has been flipped already in this match. We saw it in the previous 2 matches as well.
Yep.
Every day is different. I don't think anybody out here feels like anybody's going to beat them, you know, on their day. Doesn't matter what happened last time they played or last 5 times they played. Everybody out here feels like they're going to win when they step in the court.
Well, and the way it worked out, in the way the brackets worked out,
6 serves to 13.
it certainly looks like that. I mean, on paper, it really does look like these guys have a great matchup. I mean, if just as I looked at the brackets
7
last night, I go, my
13.
gosh, you know, all year long last year, it didn't seem like it seemed like from time to time you occasionally get the matchup that you wanted. Mm-hmm. But as I looked at the bracket, I go, these are all great.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
And add to that first event of the season, so we don't really know how guys are going to play.
Right.
You know, I mean,
could they be rusty?
You've seen from season to season a guy go from number 8 to number 2 or vice versa, so you don't know what to expect coming into each season.
The one thing that you would say is that Killian Carroll going up against Marcos is kind of a given.
13 serves 8.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that you would say in looking down the bracket. Other than that, toss-up. You couldn't even
I called it good.
put a penny down
One disagrees.
without having a chance of losing it. Not that we
Mike, you see it?
Not that we think that there'd be any betting of
I've
pennies.
got 1 disagrees and 1 didn't see it. I'm going to say take 2 serves. I'm not entirely
Amazing
sure.
Southern hospitality here, Dave, in the Southeast. Our first time back since
It's my
2012,
only
and I
call,
hope
Dave.
not our last.
Sorry, guys. Take
Really
2.
great experience here.
And
Thanks to Lance Wachholtz and E4. Mac Husband, Robert Larhoven, very generous. Not a good shot there from Sean. Very humid here, Dave, in the courts. We've seen players going through 2 or 3 pairs of gloves per game.
Look at this rally here.
Oh, that's a terrible way to end it. And Sean doing what he does, clamping down in the front court, making some amazing sliding knee, punch fist dives.
I don't know how he does it, and I don't know how
second serve.
People can even get a ball by him when he's in that mode. Look at Sean.
And he even gets this. It's a big setup,
but he comes right back into the kitchen. Look.
And Luis just does not look sharp right now, Dave.
And Sean gets that right there to win game number 1. Unbelievable gets from Sean Lenning. Now, he started the tournament with pneumonia, it seemed like.
Right.
Remember, he came in and he was sick? A guy that's sick shouldn't be able to run like this. Unbelievable play here from Sean Lenning. Just bouncing all over the court. Now he's sitting outside, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll have about 3 minutes, and we'll be back in just a bit. We'll stick around a little bit more for game number 2 coming up next. For Dave Fink, Dave Vincent here on Race4Eight.com. Back at Recreation Atlanta for game number 2 of this men's quarterfinal match between Sean Lenning and Luis Cordova.
Well, Dave, how do you follow up 2 unbelievably dramatic matches with a complete first game dud? here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was expecting tiebreaker and crowd involvement and controversial calls, but it's just really been all Sean Lenning.
Yeah, it's been a combination of Sean making some really good shots and Luis just really not taking advantage of his opportunities. And since that Sean Lenning fadeaway flat rollout at 5-9, Sean ran off the last 6 points. And Luis is going to have a dramatic turnaround here. Now, Luis is one of these guys, Dave, that's got the ability to grind. And he's shown that many times. He can come back from poor starts and lopsided first game, so we're certainly not counting him out. But I just haven't seen Cordova look sharp in this tournament yet. He didn't look sharp yesterday winning, and he definitely didn't look sharp there in that first game.
And Sean gets that very first point here.
That was a great shot from Sean. That ball sliding away from him as it hit the back wall.
You know, you're talking about the courts being late. This is game number 2 of a 11:30 in the morning match at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how late the matches are.
1 serve 0.
Now, you can't feasibly say that you think that they go an hour long, but they shouldn't be going 2 hours long either at 15-point format.
Short ball.
How is the ball in here? And everyone's saying it's really fast, and the courts are fast.
0 serves 1.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the ball is very fast, and it seems to be staying up. The balls that you think are going to be down are just coming up just slightly, and I don't know if that's the court or the ball.
1 serves
But the floor also has a lot of grip, so you can put a lot of hook on the ball, and you saw Danny doing that successfully. Mondo also hooking the ball extremely well to the left. Emmett was asking for screens on those, but really they were great serves, and they were a good 4 or 5 feet away from him. But
well, I felt that it would be very difficult for a referee, any referee, to make those calls on the screen because the ball's actually hitting the side wall.
And
with
Mondo
the player
was
standing in the
middle
center.
of the court.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can't serve it there, where can you serve it?
Point. 2 serves 1.
We've heard now from the ambulance that Emmett Peixote will not be playing in the 5th place playoff, so that will get your schedule somewhat back on track.
Replay.
well, people don't usually go in an ambulance with a bruised thumb.
But he is, though.
2 serves 1.
This isn't just people. This is The Rock.
Okay. I don't normally do this, but I'm calling your bluff on that. I'd love to play along with this, but I just,
I mean, you can see the ambulance right there through the door. Can you not?
That's a John Deere tractor being pulled behind a Jeep Cherokee.
So I guess I pushed the envelope just a little too far for you.
Yes.
Even for you.
For me, yes.
Wow. I finally did it.
2 serves 1.
This is one I cannot actually agree on.
Okay.
I want to. I can't.
It's a shame.
3 serves 1. Point.
Sean looks really good right now.
4 serves 1. Point. Timeout, that's your first, Luis.
It's nice to see here at the facility that and they don't do this at a lot of places that we go, but they are streaming or giving the live feed of the actual match up on their secondary auxiliary TV. Now it's behind the play.
Right.
You know, there's normal latency between what is happening live and what we see through our monitors, but they are probably 20 seconds behind us, and everybody in the crowd's able to see a shot. So that's pretty cool in a play where you're sitting there courtside and you see the most amazing play from Sean Lenning deep on that back wall, and then you have 20 seconds to turn and look. Screenshot it if you want. Referee could even look over and see if it was short. And it's, you know, pretty good setup here.
Yeah, it really is fan-friendly.
The only thing we're missing is a scoreboard. That'll be our next thing.
Sean Lenning going into that timeout with another flat rollout.
Yeah, I saw that. He's looking impressive right now in this round. I'm not sure if it's confidence or, like you said, he's lost 3 times in a row to Luis, but he's playing like he's never lost to him.
5 serving 1.
He's really dominating here.
That should have been called a screen. I'm surprised it wasn't.
Is the floor okay?
Well, Emmett's decision not to play in any of the playoff matches seems to be a smart one, but it could be a costly one as well, because
True.
Marcos now, if we're not anticipating
one
Marcos is going to
5.
defeat Killian Carroll, but in the next round of the playoffs, he very well could be with 1 win.
No, I believe Marcos goes ahead of Emmett.
Regardless.
1.
Yeah, at this point. Emmett's defending 4 points.
And Marcos is defending 0, so
right. To see how the rankings shake out.
1 serves 5.
They could very well end their tournament with Marcos up by half a point.
Right.
And we already know that Danny's advanced, so he was also tied.
Right.
Sean and Luis having words here.
A lot of discussion about the ball. It just seems like when one guy says something about the ball, they both seem to harp on the ball.
You guys continue? If you both agree. Okay.
I can believe it that it's not ready, but I also can't believe it. You know, this is talking to the officials here and those that have played on this court. They said it's the most lopsided court there is in all of the sport, and they say that there's bad bounces, the floor is uneven, the walls have these grooves.
So it's really the court, not the ball.
Right, and they talking to the owner, he said that in the racquetball tournament that they hold a pro stop here all the time. He said they had more balls that were supposedly quote unquote, and he gave me the air quotes, supposedly
1 serves 5.
Warped or, you know, what do they say, deformed. And that he goes, now I see that it's happening to your ball. The same tournament, just a couple weeks later. So I guess it's something that happens here a lot.
You know that a racquetball is not lopsided. I've never seen a lopsided racquetball, so that kind of is the argument right there.
Point.
Playing enough handball, you know, just looking at a ball if it's not round, and I haven't seen one.
Well, there's been 4 changes because of this lopsidedness, but I don't think that's really what it is. Sean just laid into that ball. You can hear it. Tons of power here.
5 serves 2.
You know, I was thinking how many players in this top 8, or at least in this quarterfinals, have been ranked number 1 at some point. You have Sean and yourself, Killian Carroll, Emmett. That's 4 out of the 8 already.
Right.
You know, I mean, Marcos, who's number 1 in the 40s, doesn't count, but.
5 serves 2.
But.
Hold it.
So 4 plus a senior Race4Eight number 1.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, and Mondo also.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe there's a 5th guy.
Start.
And these are all recent number 1s.
Second serve.
Emmett's number 1 was a little bit longer of the group, but still.
Emmett and Mondo Ortiz chatting about that controversial call at the end of that second game right now. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to act as a bouncer or just take pictures.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing when you see me stand up from the chair.
Yeah.
Standing up from the chair just to pounce on somebody who's going to pounce on somebody that's not expecting the pounce. And Luis just crawls across the floor there.
Yeah. He looked like his toddler son there.
Well, his son had that lizard yesterday. Here's the instant replay. Watch this. Look. That's exactly how his son learned how to walk.
Right. That's the first crawl in the history of the tour.
Point.
A lot of firsts here.
7 serves 2.
7-2, game 2.
Point.
And there's a point. That looked like the last point between Mondo and Emmett when Mondo served that ace and Emmett didn't even get out of the box.
Well, that one was such an amazing serve.
That was the same serve, same result, same exact feeling.
8-2.
Except for Emmett sort of just said, you know what, no mas.
You know, in a way, from a fan's perspective, Emmett with his broken thumb wouldn't have been able to play in the next round. So we would have likely had no match in that semifinal. And instead, now we will have a match. Mondo Ortiz and Danny Cordova.
Yeah. I guess in a way, though, Emmett might have still told the ambulance driver to go back to the hospital.
Well, he has him on speed dial. Because 911 is too many when you can just speed dial it with one.
It's a Fab 5 type thing where you just you throw it in there and there's no charges.
20 seconds.
You don't even have to unlock your phone. You can just do it right from the Yeah.
Time's in.
What about all the people contacting you, asking you what web page you go to watch the live broadcast? We actually named the tour after the web page where you go to the live broadcast. Race4Eight.com. Professional handball tour.
Oh, and Sean tracks that one down, Dave.
And he puts it in a pretty good spot. It meets up almost on that side wall. Sean's just dictating traffic right now, and he's going to put this one away.
Smart shot there. He forces Luis to commit to that left corner, and then he just flicks it straight down the left wall. Very smart play.
9 serves 2.
Well,
you force your opponent to overcommit there.
Sean looks nasty right now. And you wouldn't have said that yesterday. I mean,
at times.
2 serves 9.
I mean, the score didn't dictate how it looked, but just by watching him outside the court, and he really did look sick. Oh my goodness!
Wow. And Luis, I think, is in disbelief there. I thought for a minute he thought it skipped.
Sean's just trying to put the dagger in now. Sean misses his shot there, trying to force it down the right wall. Goes a little too close to himself. Replay called by our ref. But you couldn't ask for a better match to referee. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, these guys are. The score also has a lot to do with how easy it is to referee. One guy's winning 15-5, 10-5. There's not going to be too many arguments, controversies.
Second serve.
No matter who it is.
And there's a miss from Sean, a rare one. Dave, what started that high sock thing that not only you, but you see other players do it? Is that a tribute to a certain player in handball?
I don't look up to any players in any sport. But for me, it's very comfortable. So that's why I do it.
I see other players doing it now.
9 serves 2.
9-2. When I brought it up to Marcos, that looked like 3 bounces.
Yeah.
When I brought it up to Marcos, he started naming all these players from the old days that used to do it, and I thought, oh, well, maybe that's a tribute then.
10 serves 2.
Saying that Vince and Toddy used to wear high socks. You remember that on the old Pro Tour?
No.
Huh.
Terrible miss there from Luis. And sometimes, Dave, when you're just being pushed all over the court and you just get the slightest opening, you're just going for it, even though it might not be in rhythm. And that one certainly wasn't.
Point. serves 2.
The score here is 12-2.
Short ball.
I don't think we expected this, Dave. Not
second serve.
After Luis's great finish of the season last year. And also how well he's played against Sean in the last
13 serves 2.
Year. Look at that fly kill.
Point.
Amazing. Makes it look so easy.
14 possible match serves 2.
What was the score of that first one?
Side out.
15-5 in favor of Sean Lenning. Now Sean Lenning going for an even worse beatdown in the second game. And some days, Dave, you know this, the ball just doesn't want to go down. You just can't kill the shots that some days seem so automatic, and then sometimes it's not there. Match point now for Sean Lenning. Goes to the roof.
Good game, guys.
And he did it. And that's how it ends right there with that corner kill. Sean Lenning, impressive right there with a 15-5, 15-2 win, and he now makes it to the semis.
Comprehensive.
He's going to face either Marco Chavez or Killian Carroll, and we'll find out who next as we have another match coming up, another quarterfinal. For Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent. I want to thank Linda Manning as well as Chris Garrad, those helping out with the live broadcast. We'll be back in 10 minutes with the last quarterfinal match of the day here at race4eight.com. Stick with us.